Hi, it's Jeff Kenton. I'm an associate professor in the Educational Technology and Literacy Department at Towson University's College of Education. And today I wanted to share a response to an email I received yesterday. In that email, it was a request from the dean through my chair to ask if any of you have good ideas or practices for delivering classes online. Please share so that others with less experience can benefit from them. Okay. Now, the first thing is that when I first read this last night, late, I would say that my first response was a little bit petty. My first response was more or less along the lines of my 11th grade math teacher who said there's no royal road to mathematics. There are no tricks to doing a good job with online learning and teaching. There is only hard work and practice and diligent attempts to continuously improve the online course for future offerings. Okay? So the nature of the request is not to give somebody a bag of tricks to help them develop a fully functioning, high-quality online teaching experience. It is only to share some good ideas or practices so that others with less experience can benefit from them. So, here are some things from the very bottom. Our local campus learning management system is called Blackboard, and so when I mention Blackboard, it is our learning management system, or LMS. Okay, so the very fundamental lowest level thing you could do with materials that already exist is to post your syllabus and all of your PowerPoints and all of your intended weekly classroom handouts into Blackboard. There is a way in Blackboard to create a folder that would include a place for you to store other documents. A recommendation would be to create a one folder for each week. And in that folder, put the PowerPoint presentation and any handouts you were going to give your face-to-face class into that folder, and alert your students to the existence of that folder so that they can at least look through the materials. So giving students access to your materials is the lowest possible thing you could do with existing materials. All right. The next thing you could do that's slightly more effort, but probably worth it in the long run, is to get into a room where you would otherwise be ready to give a lecture. You can do this at home, but just run through your PowerPoint while recording yourself. On your phone, there is very likely a recorder tool that will record the audio of your comments. And then once you have that audio file, you can attach that into the weekly folder. My recommendation for this is that if you're going to record your audio, to choose an audio recording tool that will allow you to save your recordings in MP3 format. A lot of default settings for audio recording tools are to use WAV files or WAV. Those can wind up being extremely large, especially if you are going to record a 30 or 40 minute speech or lecture. So choose MP3. Pretty much every device that does audio these days can record or can play back MP3. So you'd be good in that regard. A little bit more skill if you have the ability to go into your PowerPoint presentation and give an annotated or a voiceover as you present your presentation. That will create a large file, a large PowerPoint file, but will allow the students to hear your intended comments for each slide. You may, let me just jump back to the previous example where I talked about recording your voice. You may practice saying next slide, for example, when you want somebody to go to the next slide. This is old school, like when you may have had a teacher when you were in elementary school or high school or whatever that had a film strip projector which required someone to press a button to make the slide advance from one to the next. So you may channel a little bit of old school technology there. If you have a little bit more expertise, you can do something analogous to what I'm doing right now, which is to point a video camera at yourself and give the lecture as if you were addressing a group of more or less an empty room, because you will have no interaction with your students who are listening to it, but it is a way, and I have found in my own experience with distance ed, that students appreciate seeing my face along with hearing my voice. For some reason, even though my voice, the quality of my voice doesn't change, and it's possible that the sight of my face doesn't increase the quality of the message either, it is something to try. The tool that I'm using right now is called OBS. That's O like Oscar, B like Beta, and S like Sierra Studio. And it runs on Mac and Windows. And if you use Linux by any chance, it runs on Linux too. It will allow you to create an MP4, which is the video format, analog to MP3, that you can then post. And what I do in my own case is to post my MP4s as unlisted videos on YouTube. An unlisted video means that the student has to click on a particular link to gain access to it. I post those links only in Blackboard, so it gives some measure of protection from somebody accessing my lecture materials. Not that there's anything that needs to be hidden or private or secret. It's just I don't intend to share my teaching videos broadly or to the general public, so that's my choice on that. The next thing you can try, if you have a little more skill, is to do a live video stream with your students on a particular time on a particular day. Now, if you are used to doing a face-to-face class, you may find that the tool called Collaborate Ultra in Blackboard, when you go to the left side of your screen and scroll down to where it says Course Tools, one of the first course tools is called Blackboard Collaborate Ultra. That will allow you, if you have a video camera and a microphone, to interact with folks where they would be able to see your little your face on the screen, such like right now. And Collaborate Ultra allows for your students to interact with you. There are some rules of thumb you might want to follow when doing a live video stream with more than just a small handful of people. One is to, by default, mute everybody's microphone. And as the presenter, you can click on a microphone icon and allow individual people to speak or be heard to the others. Also within Collaborate Ultra is a feature that allows folks to chat. And so one other successful tactic that people have used is to use the chat feature to solicit people's questions, and then you can answer them to the broader group and you don't give the microphone focus to any other person that way. Now, I've been party to many video conferences and webinars, and that approach of using a chat feature with a live video entity to answer the questions is really effective. People generally walk away from an event like that being fairly satisfied that they achieved their personal goals or learned what they wanted to through that approach. All right. So if you have never taught an online class before, those are sort of the 4 categories of things that I would offer up as potentials for offering a class online. So let me go back through them. The first one is to just make your materials, any PowerPoint presentations and handouts, available on a weekly or a week-by-week basis in individual folders in Blackboard. Then you'll be using email a lot to contact your students to prompt them to do what it is you intend them to do with those materials. You may ask them to complete an activity and submit you something to prove that they've completed it. Okay, so that's one. The next one that's a little more complicated or requires a little bit more technical expertise is to record your PowerPoint lecture, including prompts where you want folks to go from one slide to the next one. Okay, so that then would give you the folder full of weekly materials, which includes your PowerPoint presentation, with the addition of a audio file. My recommendation is an MP3 file because it is generically playable and the file size is relatively smaller, allowing folks to access that without too much trouble as far as downloading. The next kind of technical requirement is to do something like what I'm doing right now, but to record your lecture. Again, I use OBS Studio. You can also do a screencast that would allow you to record yourself giving a lecture. And you can do something like I did here, where you can create a view that gives your face a little thumbnail in a corner as you wish, and you can then highlight a section of another screen that way. Okay, so that requires a little more expertise. And then the fourth one is more or less what I'm doing right now, or to do a live webinar using Blackboard's Collaborate Ultra tool. So as far as giving somebody ideas or practices, I think those are the 4 that I would offer to people who've never done online learning before, but may be technically savvy in some way. Okay, so those are the 4. Just giving materials and interacting through email. Recording your lecture as a standard non-interactive video file. Please use MP3. Be conscientious toward your students and their ability to download files. 3 would be a video-based recording of you giving your lecture, and 4th would be a live video conference analog using something like Collaborate Ultra. Okay, so I don't want to send you off just saying good luck. So if you have any easy questions where you can identify one of the four approaches that I identified that you'd like to try, and you'd like a little bit of guidance in getting started, email me. I'm at jkenton@towson.edu. That's J like Juliet, K like Kilo, E like Echo, N like November, T like Tango, O like Oscar, N like November. Okay? At towson.edu. And please understand, I'm also teaching my own classes right now, and they are, the nature of the questions I get from my online students are no less complicated than the ones that I would get face to face. So I may not respond to you immediately, but I promise I will try to help if you feel like you'd like some help. All right, so this is unprecedented territory that we're in. I know that you've received something like that from your own chair or dean or provost already, so it shouldn't be a surprise. But this is not impossible. Please don't expect that you're going to be an expert the first time out the gate. You're going to have to try and fail a bunch of times before you can feel like you've done an expert level performance on this. But the important thing, as I tell my students every semester, is the more important thing is to try. Because especially if something's new to you, just give it a try. An attempt is worth way more than just throwing your hands up and walking away. Okay? So do your best. If you have some questions that you can potentially wait a day or two to get an answer, then feel free to send them to me. I'll do my best to answer them. Otherwise, stay safe. Enjoy the opportunity to try something new. And hopefully I'll see you all again soon, face to face. Take care. Bye.